You guys are always probably like, Joseph, do you ever take your hat off? My hair, I need a haircut, you know? So that's why I always have a hat on. Antonio Brown jersey up, because we are doing the Raiders. I was right. I know I haven't done an off-season preview in a little bit. So we're going to speed up the process a little bit. I'm going to bang out 3 today. We're going to finish the AFC West. We're going to go, obviously, Raiders this video, Chargers, Broncos. All right, let's get into it. Fit check, hat, black, glasses, Spider-Man t-shirt, black shorts. That's right. We're going all black today for the Raiders. So, first off, start with the offense. You know it. You love it. Easy format to follow. Now, don't worry. We're using ESPN's projected starters. And honestly, I'll give you a little bit. I kind of stopped doing these for a minute because Spider-Man Brand New Day. And also training camp started, and I've been watching a lot of training camp film, and I just couldn't find the time to do training camp film and film from last year and years past on these players. Now, quarterback, we got a fun little quarterback room. Now, we got Kirko Chains, baby, who is going to be the starter. They've already confirmed it. This is not a QB battle. And Fernando Mendoza. Now, I want to talk about both of them, even though Fernando's the backup, just because, you know why, first overall pick. Now, first off, Kirko Chains, this is easily the best quarterback they've had since Derek Carr. I know at the end of his career, Derek Carr was not great with the Raiders, but he's better than what they had. Now you got Kirko Chains, who could come in and definitely be a decent starter for you. But that's not what we're going to talk about, because everybody knows Kirko Chains. He's the easy bridge quarterback. That's what he did in Atlanta, and he was pretty good there for a little bit, and then was horrible. And last year he played pretty decent. I didn't realize it, but last year he played pretty decent. His stats don't look great because some games is specific. I think back to the Jets game, he was horrible. But then you look at a game like the Bucs, and he absolutely balled out with Kyle Pitts against the Bucs. So yeah, I mean, you know what you're going to get with Kirko. You know you're not going to get elite QB play, but you're definitely going to get solid QB play, which is kind of what this team needs right now. Now, the QB2 is a big draft pick. First overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. I'm going to talk about him now and not the rookie segment because I do think he could start a few games this year. I hope he doesn't. I hope he gets to sit all year behind Kirko. He is projected to be the second string, and I like that for him. You know, he gets to sit behind Kirko Chains, who's a proven veteran quarterback that he has shown he can win in this league. Yes, he has not won a playoff game, but regular season is where you got to start, obviously. And I mean, he will most likely change. I like to think that he'll change this team's future. Now, he actually is younger than the last Raiders playoff win, which is crazy, but I do think he could really be the difference maker for the Raiders within the next few years. But this is obviously talking about this year. This year, I don't expect him to play a lot, and if he does play, probably either garbage time or Kirko gets hurt, or Kirko's just horrid. And you know what? They try to salvage the season, which I don't expect them to do. Now, looking at your running back room, you know him. You may love him. You may hate him if you drafted him high in fantasy, but that's kind of on you. Ashton effing Jeanty. Now, Ashton Jeanty, obviously, phenomenal running back. We know that. Last year, he balled out with a rough team with him. Pretty shitty O-line play. Absolutely horrible quarterback play. So, I mean, this year's definitely an upgrade from last year. I'll say that right now. Better offensive weapons, better quarterback, better offensive line at that, too. I mean, yeah. This is a team that is going to be better than last year, and that's really going to help Jeanty out. Jeanty was good last year, and arguably Jeanty was their best offensive player. We'll get to the guy who is also in the running, but he was a little banged up last year. Now, I know Jeanty's stats are a little disappointing from last season. Pulling them up right now, 975 yards on 3.1 carries with 5 touchdowns. Now, again, that's not entirely his fault, but that is disappointing. And then looking at the receiving, 55 for 346 and 5, which is good, actually. That's actually really good. But I did notice only 13 first downs after 5 catches. It's interesting. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously a phenomenal player, and it sucks that we had to go through that last year. I mean, looking at the film, he didn't play great in some games, but again, looking back at a game like the Bears game, he did play really good, actually. So yeah, he's gonna probably break out this season, I hope, because he doesn't look like a bust from last year. Now, arguably the weakest spot of this entire roster, you have your wide receivers, and your three starting wide receivers are Trey Tucker, Jalen Nailor, and Jack Beck. Now, I've talked to a few Raiders fans on TikTok and Evo's Place on the Internet, Reddit, and they actually do expect Jalen Nailor to have a big year. And I'd say he's probably the most proven wide receiver on this team. Not a high bar. But yeah, I mean, if I were to choose one, I'd choose Jack Beck. He didn't get to play a lot last year, but when he did play, he did look pretty dang good. So, I mean, I would choose Jack Beck. It's really late. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I would choose Jack Beck, but I understand where Raiders fans are coming from because obviously Jalen Nailor is a lot more proven. But yeah, this... also, Dante Thornton Jr., who's also going into his second year. He could also find his way starting. But yeah, not a great receiving core, obviously. But then what really makes up for it, Brock Bowers at tight end. Obviously, when he's on the field, he's probably the Raiders' best player, on offense at least. And, I mean, last year, his stats don't show up, but he did play really good when he played. I mean, I think back to, I can't think of what game it was, but he had that beautiful one-handed catch. He's up here, the ball's going here, he's just like... It was great. He's obviously super talented, only going into his third season, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, he was drafted 13th overall, which you don't typically see tight ends go that high. But he definitely proved that he was worth it. And I don't have really any negatives about him. Obviously, he's a phenomenal football player for my money. Besides maybe Trey McBride, he has the most upside of any tight end in the league. And you might be saying, hey, what about George Kittle? He's coming off an ACL tear, sadly. So as of right now, I'd have him ranked as my second tight end in the league. Again, George Kittle can't really play. He might be able to be back for week 1. Well, this isn't Niners video, sorry. This is rival team. But yeah, and also I want to point out Michael Mayer, because I'm a big Michael Mayer believer still. I know he's been in the league for years, 3 years now, and he hasn't really done anything. But I still think he's great, and I think they got a great value for where they selected him all the way back in 23. I didn't expect him to be there. And the fact that he was there was crazy to me. I like that pick, and I do really still think he could be good. But he sadly probably won't get a lot of opportunities because he's sitting behind what I think is the second best tight end in football currently. So yeah. Now looking at this offensive line, you got Kolton Miller at your left tackle. Now Kolton Miller is a tad bit underrated. He is a little older now. He's up to 30. But he's always been a solid player for the Raiders, whether it was in Oakland or in Las Vegas. He's been that solid player, and I think he will be as well. Last year, he kind of had a down year, but the Raiders were absolutely atrocious. Now, Spencer Burnford... Yeah, Gosh, I can't stop yawning. I'm tired. I'm not gonna edit any of this out. Now he's coming over. He's coming over from, not from the Niners. It's an upgrade. Not necessarily the best upgrade, but it's definitely an upgrade, and I can applaud that. We always applaud an upgrade on this channel. So yeah, I won't hate. I mean, he's your left guard. Pretty important, but if you have a good tackle and center next to him, he'll be fine. Now, speaking of center, in my opinion, a top 3 center in the league, who also did kind of have a down year last season, but again, the rest of the line was pretty bad. Tyler Linderbaum. Yes. Was his contract a little cray-cray? Yes. But when you're this bad of a team, you have to overpay for talent. And I really hope this doesn't reset the center market. That would make me quite sad because I love centers. And if they start making 20, 30, 50 million a year, I'd be quite sad. But yeah, obviously, center's probably the most important part of the offensive line. If you don't have a good center but good rest, you're going to struggle. And that has been very evident And the Raiders have had pretty shitty center play the past few seasons. You get a guy like Tyler Linderbaum, who is a proven guy in Baltimore, who, again, in my opinion, is a top 3 center in the league. Yeah. It's barbecue chicken from there. Now, speaking of right guard, I actually really like Jackson Powers Jr. I know he's going into his 3rd year, but I think he's actually very promising. I mean, looking at the film, when he plays, he looks pretty good. Now, there's not much to say about him, because again, he's just this lone right guard, but I really do think him and Linderbaum together on double teams will be absolutely phenomenal in pass blocking, and same with run blocking. And I cannot stress this enough. I think this O-line is so much better than it was last year, and I think Genty's going to have a much better year. Now, also, DJ Glaze, also drafted in 24, does not look as promising, in my opinion, as Powers Johnson, but I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, he's a young player. He's only in his 3rd season now. So, I mean, and you know what? That's another thing I'm going to applaud this offense for. Ignoring Kirko Chains and Colton Miller, this is a very young offense. You know what? Sub in Kirk Cousins for Mendoza. And this is a very young offense. And none of them are really tenured. Powers, Glaze, Genty, Beck, all on rookie contracts. So it's a very young offense. And you know what? I think that should be applauded for. Now, I kind of hope they do on some maybe more 2 tight end sets this year, because I really want to see Michael Mayer play good. Now, looking at their defense is what we're going to get into next. I need to go get some water. Now, so looking at their defense, they run a base 3-4. We're not starting off good. You left the edge, you got Thomas Booker. And as an Eagles fan, I want to say I like this guy because he was very involved in the community, but he's not good. He's not. Yeah. And then Adam Butler at nose tackle. He might be the worst starting nose tackle in the league. And yeah, he's old as heck. But he sucks. There's no way around it. He sucks. All of his years with the Raiders, again, I've talked to some Raider fans, and I actually asked specifically about him because from the film, he's awful. They don't particularly like him either. Yeah, because he's not good. Now, that's already a really bad start for Thomas Booker and Adam Butler, but let's go on to it. Jonah Lalatu? I don't know how to say his name. I'm sorry. Again, really young player. Has promise. Didn't play too much last season. But when he did play, he was pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll take 4 sacks any day. So, yeah. So not looking great. But then, obviously, a weak side linebacker, Max Crosby, who is obviously phenomenal when he's on the field. Now, yes, I do get it. Sometimes he plays injured, which really hurts him. Like you could tell last year, he finished with 10 sacks. But in 15 games, he didn't look healthy. And I think it was very smart of them to deactivate him, even if it made him upset, because you got to preserve health. And he's already had surgery this year. But he has looked good in the offseason. I'll say that at the Sack Summit this season, he looks really good. Like, he looked unstoppable. I really hope he doesn't bring that. And I know there's still trade rumors swirling around him, and he already kind of got traded to the Ravens, and But there's still trade rumors around him. I know teams like the Eagles and the Cowboys are looking at him. But I do expect him to be on this team week 1. Maybe traded at the deadline. I do expect him to be here week 1. And I expect him to be wreaking havoc. Now, your left inside linebacker is a guy I absolutely love as a Philly fan, Nakobe Dean. This is a guy I don't have to look at film on because I know his strengths right off the bat. He is a pretty good coverage linebacker. He is young. And he is arguably the best blitzing linebacker in the league. If you go look at his film from 25 and 24, blitzing, he was absolutely phenomenal. This is a leader. The locker room likes him. This is a good guy to have on your team, especially commanding your offense. I really like this signing. I thought this was another one of my favorite signings of the year because I know he didn't play a ton last season because he was injured, but as long as he can stay healthy, he is one of the best guys to have on this team, on this field. I mean, he can blitz for you, he can cover, he's a good run stopper, and he's very vocal on the field. This is a really good signing, and I'm really high on this signing for them. Now, again, getting into the right inside linebacker, you got Quay Walker. And if he can revert back to himself from just 2024, you have one of the best linebacking trios in the league. Now, I'm pretty high on Quay Walker opposed to some other people. I know his coverage was a little iffy, and he had some missed tackles last season. But I still think he can revert back to form with Max Crosby and Nakobe Dean next to him. And, of course, then Kwity Paye as well, by the way. I kind of forgot about him. Forgot they signed him. Supposed to be the Max Crosby replacement. But, yeah, like, as your strong side linebacker, this is a damn good linebacking core. I mean, I know he technically plays end, but, again, I'm just going off what they have him listed as. Same with Crosby. And typically ends that drop back into coverage. But yeah, that's a really good linebacking core. And I mean, if Quay Walker and Kwity Paye can revert a little bit back to what they were, boom. And if, of course, Nakobe Dean and Max Crosby can stay healthy, boom. Now looking at your safety room, Jeremy Chinn. And I know I'm going to talk about corners in a second. Jeremy Chinn is definitely a solid safety. Is he the best safety in the league? No. Was he good last year? Not necessarily. But also you got to remember, besides Max Crosby, no one was putting pressure on the QB typically, which makes corners and safeties' jobs a lot harder. So I do think he could have a better year this year. And this is a guy, I won't lie to you guys, I didn't really know anything about coming into the season, but Isaiah Pola-Mao, I think is how you say his name, maybe? I didn't really know a ton about him, but from the film, he's not bad. He's definitely not the worst starting safety in the league, but I will say he's nothing special. But again, last season, you gotta put into picture how bad the not even just the edge rushers, the rushers in general were. So I mean, I'm willing to give the safeties benefit of the doubt, but I do think it is a pretty big year for them. Now he will be going into corners. Eric Stokes. Good thing they kept him this season. Because last year he was definitely their best corner. Not hot take. I mean, looking at the stats, looking at the film, nothing jumps out on his stats. But film-wise, he was their best corner. And again, he did struggle last year, but again, there was no pass rush to help this guy out. And then you got Darian Porter across from him, who is very young, drafted in 25, played his rookie year, played pretty decent for, again, being in such a bad situation. I mean, I am kind of high on this secondary, assuming that the edges and the nose tackle, D tackles, whatever, can get there. But that is that's a what if. Now, Tyrone Johnson at your nickel, definitely a pretty decent nickel. I know Bills fans, again, I talked to some Bills fans, they were pretty devastated to lose him. Because, he kind of did provide that last year. He definitely didn't play good. But yeah. I mean, so overall, this is definitely a better roster than last season. Defensively, they're better. Offensively, they're better. But this is still very, very rough. So now we're going to go into free agent acquisitions. The Raiders had a lot of money because they weren't really paying for talent last year. So they went out and they spent it. And I really like this free agency class. Tyler Linderbaum, I already gave my opinions on him. Top 3 center of the league, in my opinion. Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker, 2 really good linebackers that automatically update your linebacking core. And I'm looking at it, and Nakobe Dean's only on a $12 million deal. That is a pretty damn good deal for him. That's a kind of a steal, honestly. And then you bring in Kwity Paye at edge last week's side linebacker. And again, only $16 million a year. That's good. Jalen Nailor you bring in on a also pretty cheap deal. And again, you really do need wide receiver help, so that's really great. And you bring back, I already mentioned it, Eric Stokes, he was your best. Now, these guys were just added before training camp. Patrick Johnson, Buddy Johnson. Weird. Patrick Johnson, Buddy Johnson, and Devin Tompkins probably won't really do much, may not even make the roster, but it is worth mentioning now that it started. So overall, I absolutely really do love this free agency class. I mean, just Kwity Paye, Quay Walker, Kobe Dean, and Tyler Linderbaum enough for me to say, hey, I like this. And then you add on Jalen Naylor and Eric Stokes. I really like this. So now let's just go to the coaching staff, which I'm actually really excited to talk about. Head coach, Shermo, please. Clint Kubiak, love it. This is a guy that's really going to help you develop your young talent. Obviously, we saw what he did with Seattle the past few seasons. But obviously, Clint really helped develop this talent. I mean, Genty is going to be developed. I mean, we saw what he did with Walker. I know Walker was in a 2-season back, but that was because of his injury history. Genty doesn't have injury history. I expect Genty to be the main back and not really split carries. So, yeah. And then, of course, you got Bowers, who, again, is just another great offensive weapon and could be this team's JSN. I know, obviously, won't have semi-series runners or anything. I'm not saying that, but, their number one guy. And I really think he is going to be pivotal to developing Fernando Mendoza. Because, again, he probably won't play this year too much. Now, Andrew Jan Hako, offensive coordinator, I don't know a ton about. I won't lie to you. I'm not going to pretend. But, yeah. He probably won't have that big of a role considering who your guy is. And then looking at your defensive coordinator, you got Rob Leonard. Now, again, I don't know a ton about him, but I know he was promoted from the run game coordinator and to defensive coordinator. Now, they obviously liked him enough to promote him. I hope he can do well. Again, I don't know a bunch about him, so this segment is going to be pretty fast, but now we're going to go into the draft. First overall, I already mentioned him. Fernando Mendoza. Yeah, I already gave enough about him. Now, your second overall pick, who I do assume will probably start this year, Trayden Stukes, I think is how you say his name. Yeah, I do expect him to start a few games, maybe not at the beginning of the year, but you need safety help, obviously. I know I kind of gave them a little bit of praise, but they weren't good last year. And now, Karen Crawford at the end, I do also think could get a few starts this year, opposite of Max Crosby. But I think it will be a development year. Same with Trazen the third guard. I don't actually think he's going to play this year. I think he will kind of be more of a development piece. But yeah, you know what? They're building for the future. I mean, all four of those first guys, they're really going to work for develop and probably will be benched at the beginning of the season. Now, in the fourth round, you get Gerard McCoy. Steele, if he can stay healthy, he is arguably could be argued he is a top 1 corner from this class. I have him about top 5, top 3-ish. Depends on kind of the day. Right now I'm feeling generous, so I'll say top 5. But yeah, I mean, that's just steal as long as he can stay healthy. But honestly, everything else I'm not too bedazzled with. I mean, maybe Malik Benson, wide receiver, can do some stuff because they don't have any receivers. And Brandon Cleveland, D tackle, but again, he's a 7th-round pick. I don't really see a whole lot coming from this free draft. I mean, in a few years, 100%, but this year probably not. Probably a lot of just second-string guys that are just developing, which is absolutely fine. That's okay for a draft to be. Yeah, so for as of right now, I don't expect too much from this draft class. I'm looking at this team's schedule. I'm sorry for going so fast. It's 3:30. I'm tired. Looking at the schedule, you get Miami week 1. I think that honestly could be a win. Coco Chains goes out. Probably balls against Miami, who's obviously tanking. So yeah, Los Angeles Chargers week 2. That's what the Chargers are going to do. Now, Saints is an interesting one. I do think Saints are a better team, but I do think Kirk Chains could maybe squeak this out. No, I'm going to take the Saints. Now, looking week 4, Kansas City Chiefs. If Mahomes is healthy, yeah. I don't really care that it's at home because Raider Nation, I'm sorry, but your team's not better than Patrick Mahomes. Now, week 5 at New England, yeah, rough start of the year, and it's only going to get worse because week 6 and week 7, you have the Bills and Rams. I'm sorry. I know my hair is awful, but I'm sorry. I had to take my hat off to show some condolences. But then you do get a little bit of a break with week 8. You get a bye week. The Jets. That's what you should do to the Jets, and I really hope you do. Especially since if you lose to them, you honestly might be the worst team in existence. Which I did kind of say I was a little higher on them, and I still believe that. But then again, your schedule just goes to shit. Niners, Seahawks, and Broncos. 4 consecutive weeks. But then, Browns, a little easier. They don't have Myles Garrett at least. Week 13's a bye. And then 14, 15 don't get any easier, as it is the Chargers and Broncos. Now, week 16, 17 really do get easier with the Titans and Cardinals. Should probably win 1 or 2 of those games. I can see Tennessee being a little hard for you, though, because I do actually really like what Tennessee's cooking. In week 18, depending on what Kansas City is doing, if they're in the playoffs already, they might rest the starters, and you might be able to win at week 18. If not, I do think Patrick Mahomes is better. So I'll give you record predictions in half a second. Now this one, wow. I'm going to give you a floor of 4-13, and a kind of a high ceiling here at 7-10. But I have the Raiders going 6-11. Now, yes, they are pretty better than they were last year, but this is a hard schedule for a team that's coming off the first overall pick. So yeah, I mean, I've talked to some Raiders fans. They don't expect a huge year. The highest prediction I saw was 9-8, which I think is kind of pushing it, but maybe. So yeah, as of right now, they are not winning their division. They are second in their division behind the Chiefs. So we'll see with the Broncos and Chargers if that changes. So yeah, I have them going 6-11. Thank you, take care, and I love you all. Spread some positivity. I need to go to bed because I'm so tired.